Good morning and welcome to Holtonsfixit101. This is the fourth one in the router table series. Today we're going to be talking about featherboards and mitre guides. We all know that when using a router table such as this one I've got here, that we use featherboards for safety, and we all know that safety is the biggest thing that we have to have on a router table. Especially when you're using for your hands, you must keep your fingers. Now here we are from here. We can see I've set up several different featherboards on here, and you can see other ones that I've actually made over the years. Well, some of them have got different sliders and different bits and pieces on it. I do have, as you can see, I've had this T-slot in the back of here that will allow for, I've made up these pieces of steel basically to actually slide into this T-slot, so it gives you a bit more flexibility on pushing down on a piece of wood. Now I'll just move these out of the way a second, and as you can see here I set up a featherboard on the bottom here, pushing against the fence at the back, and you'll also see that I have this one here. I know I just clamped on there at this point in time, but it's actually pushing down onto the table so to push this bit of wood through. Now as you can see, I've got this bit of wood set up here, but the idea is that you always work with a router table, as everyone knows. We always work from right to left, and you work against the grain of the cutter. You never work with the cutter, otherwise it will fly off in a bit of a tangent direction. So the idea is that you can push this through that way very, very easily, but if you try to push this back that way, you can't, because that is the way that the cutter is actually spinning against the piece of wood that's actually underneath. So otherwise it would just ping and it would come that direction out. So the idea is that as you're pushing the wood through, you can push the wood through with ease, but you've got safety in mind that it's held down to the table and it's held against the fence. That's how this particular one works, and I'll get you a closer up shot of this all in action here, of how I've set this up so it actually pushes the fingers up so they will not be allowed to be pushed back either. There we have it, featherboards on the router table. Now we will be talking about mitre guides as well today. I have this one as well. I actually use this particular one on my table saw, so when I'm actually going from the table saw to the router, I don't have to change any settings. I can just go straight across, no problem. That is why I have this huge router slot in here. So anyone ask, that's the reason why it's there. Well, as you can see, we got the featherboards all set up here, as you saw in the last segment. But as promised, I will show you the action of the fingers pushing up on here, so it actually helps you push it down to the table. I pushed a bit of wood through, and as you can see, the fingers on the bottom here, you might not be able to see that quite as well, but the fingers are certainly here are starting to push up just that little bit, so it allows for that piece of wood to pass through in that direction. But if you try to pull that bit of wood back, you can't pull it, and that is the idea of having those fingers in there. And it saves your own fingers at the end of the day. You don't want, but you can push that through quite easily that way, but it allows it only to go one way, and it stops the cutter from pushing that piece of wood straight out through here and possibly injuring someone or doing damage to something other around your workshop. Now here we are with the mitre guide, as I promised to show you. People can understand now why I have such a big mitre slot in here, along with the T-track that I've actually built into the actual top of the table. So it allows me to take my mitre guide from my table saw over to the router table. And as you can see, I set up a piece of wood in here, and it allows me to go straight across here now and do the end of a piece of wood. Now that allows me to do like panel raising on, you know, for cupboard doors and stuff like that, and to do all the end grain. But obviously you have to be a little bit more diplomatic about doing end grain, because you could split it out very easily. But this particular mitre guide in itself everything moves this way or that way to compare to how far you want the fence away from where you want to be. And it also has this facility in the back of here that allows me to extend the end of this, so I can put longer pieces of wood in as I need to. It also has this convenience stop on here as well, as you can see. I'll bring that back so you can see it. Has a convenience stop on here, and you can actually bring that through like that, and you can put smaller pieces of wood through and as well, and it helps you in a great deal when you have that stop. You can also adjust this handle here, so you can bring that round to do different angles, and it's a brilliant thing for when I'm using that. So if I cut something off at an angle on the table saw, I can take it directly over to my router table, and I can actually mitre it or anything like that, and use or put a rabbet in the end, or rebate, or round it over at the same angle as what I cut it off at. I don't have to go readjusting, thinking, well, I could try and get the right angle. It's all there. So, mitre guides, great little tool on a router table, as well as what featherboards are. Right, now we failed to mention, I failed to mention anyway, about push sticks. Now I have a various amount of these different push sticks that I have for using on the table saw even, but I use quite a lot of them here on the router table. And I have that, obviously push stick in the end there, but everyone has that sort. And I also have this type as well, which is basically a block of wood with a couple of handles on it, really, and that you can push directly forward on your piece of wood. But that is basically all the push sticks that I ever use, to be honest. I don't try and use my fingers, because you don't want to get your fingers in the way. Well, there we have it. It's push sticks, mitre guides and featherboards. Now everyone knows how to make featherboards. They're not hard to make. Everyone knows how to make a push stick. You know, let's face it, a bit of stick with a notch in the end, that's a push stick. You know, it's not hard to make, and it's better using a piece of wood and cutting a piece of wood than cutting these. You don't want to be cutting these. Now, if you like this video, click the like button, and don't forget to just subscribe to the channel. I will be putting some links down below for quite a few bits and pieces of the router table itself. I have done in previous videos, and I'll put links to the previous videos in the comments down below as well. So we'll see you again sometime.